I want you to give me your undivided attention for the few minutes. Um, can you get up my slide? I wanted to talk on integrity. Thank you very much. This is a young man that met the Lord Jesus Christ at a tender age of 15 before I get to know my left and right in life. That's me there with my Bible clothed on my chest. And this is the best thing that ever happened to me. I've never changed from then. As the call to shine God's light in the marketplace. As believers, our light is not confined in the wall of church. We are to shine in every sphere of life, including the world of business. Business is not about profit only, it's part of it, or success. It is a ministry. It's a ministry platform. Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. My father died when I was 4, so my mother became a single parent, and I really didn't have anybody to help me in life. So when you look at young people, you say the abuse. I used to be one of them. Before I turned 9, I started working for my uncle in Lagos. My mother used to fly akara, and I hugged them on the street. This reason why I want to tell this story is to bring the subject we are discussing to where you can appreciate it and feel it. It was when I was working for my uncle, sleeping in 88 Griffith Street at Oyimbo bus stop, that one Mr. Olu came to our office to buy parts. And I asked him, he's a mechanic, how much do you want me to write? He asked me, why did you ask me how much do you want me to write? I said, yes, mechanics come and ask us to inflate the price. We raise the price, they dash us money. He said, but you shouldn't do that. Don't you know that is bad? I said, well, maybe it's bad, but that's what they do. So we usually ask them, how much do they want us to write before we made invoice? He told me I shouldn't do that. That was the first time in my life I heard about the gospel. The Christianity has been so modernized today that those things doesn't mean anything. So this guy talked to me about the Lord Jesus Christ and invited me to the dead end of a Butemeta when Brother Kumuyi was still a lecturer in Unilag, and the current Adeboye was also a lecturer. But every morning, early morning in the morning, Adeboye will have morning devotion for different people from different church who congregate there, the real original place, and they have morning devotion. Then they take the third mainland bridge and start coming to Lagos and other things. And Kumuyi have Bible study there every Monday. He come and teach on integrity and how to live a life. So that was my foundation. I didn't go to formal school to learn things, but I learned by observation. Having had that first encounter, the next encounter I had was a young man in Sokoto while I was working for my uncle, managing his branch in Sokoto. His name is Adolphus. This white Bible I have, he gave it to me. I want you to appreciate what happened in the marketplace, that you don't just have to come to church and preach the gospel, but the marketplace is where to meet people and make impact in the life of the people. Adolphus was one of apprentice boys like us, but his life was different, unique, nowhere close to the life some of us apprentices live. Very rough in our behavior and things. This guy have a gentle disposition, completely different. You see, if there is a deep in you calling after a deep, there is a deep somewhere to respond to it. There's a hunger of that quality of life. Adolphus never preached to me. He never told me Jesus saved. He just keep on living his life. One day I went to meet him. I said, Adolphus, can you please tell me why you are different from the rest of us? He said, can I excuse him? In the front of the store, it's like this is the shelf where they put merchandise. If you go behind it, there's a bedroom. He went there. He didn't know I followed him. I tiptoed. And then I looked. He knelt down praying before he said anything to me. Watching him do that, by the time he came out to talk to me, I rated him so high. I knew this guy was in the realm that I never came anywhere close to. My respect for him sprung so high. He started talking to me about Jesus Christ and his saving grace, how he met the Lord. Then he presented this Bible to me as a gift. And from this book, I learned how to read. How I need to tell this story so that you can appreciate where I'm coming from. Can we move to the next slide? I'm conscious of the time. Oh no. Yes. Who is Cosmas in Maduka? I am a Christian, a minister of the gospel, modern minister of the gospel, an entrepreneur and a businessman, a regent with standard 3 English. And that is a proof that impact does not always come by perfect grammar. Yes, because some of you would have been saying, his tenses are not adding up. That's not what is important. If you don't like my tenses, you quarrel with my education, you will not quarrel with my result. Yeah. Because the manifestation is always the interpretation. They asked Henry Ford, who is an educated man, he says a man or a woman that can organize his thought into productivity. With third grade education, with basic principle that I learned from the Word of God as relates to integrity, I went ahead and built an institution today that is known as Coscharis. These are people I've met. John Maxwell was one of my distant mentor. And this is Ben Carson, a renowned neurosurgeon. If your brain scatter, he will fix it. And that's Aliko Dangote and Peter will be at my second son's wedding. These are people I interact with. Move on. Today, Coscharis does business in 5 continents: North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and in Africa, we are located in about 5 places. The first was Nigeria. We moved into Ghana about 30 years ago. We are in Gabon. We are in Ivory Coast. We opened Sierra Leone 4 years ago, and we just registered Coscharis Zimbabwe. Move on. And today, we represent these brands in Nigeria. We started with BMW 27 years ago, 1998. And we did it well. Jaguar Land Rover signed on. Rolls-Royce signs us on. Today, we carry 4 luxurious brands, and these are other brands that in our group. I'm trying to build a case. Then at the end, I'll talk about integrity. Because you only can make money on a scarce commodity. If you sell what everybody sells, you are struggling. But if you have a product that's not in plenty supply, you can actually dictate your price and people will buy it. So you need to see where I'm coming from. A lot of people believe that our core business is automobile. No, we started automobile business in 1998. Actually, when we built the first building in Adiolo Deku and Akia Deshola, people say that company that played table tennis, because nobody knew exactly what we are doing. But this is what we are doing. If you drive car, it doesn't matter the brand you have. If you are a car owner, you are our customer. You can't drive your car 1 year, regardless of the brand, without some of your money coming to my company. We are pharmaceutical of automobile. Many people sell car, but they don't know anything about the component. But this is where this university I went and I graduated with distinction. I can tell you everything about internal combustion engine. So if I am challenged today with this brand and the other brands that I show you, I will tell you to take all of those brands. I will stay with this because this is where my bread and butter comes. Move on. Okay, so this is located just after Lagos Business School at Awoyaya. That's where our corporate office is. We are responsible to these buses you see running in Lagos. And we are going to be launching so many other brands. We are just did some business. Okay, move on, yes, Parrot. This is our Abuja office, and this the new building we did in Victoria Island with 5-floor car showroom. But I want you to see this farm. The World Bank predicted by 2050, Nigeria will be the third most popular nation on the earth. Outside of China, India, Nigeria will be, in terms of demography, the most popular other nation. Nigeria is less than 300 million people. We spend close to 3 billion to import grains that grow on a mud as if there were no entrepreneurs in this country. We spend over $4 billion to import wheat. By the time we are 500 million people, technology has obstructed many businesses, but there's no technology that's going to obstruct food. Even if you're a mad person, you need to be well fed for your madness to continue. So those who are in agriculture and get it right are the people who has the future of this country, frankly speaking. And that's why 28 years ago, yes, my daughter, my wife went to give birth to her when I signed the agreement of that piece of property with Emeka Omerwa was the governor of Anambra State. We acquired it from different people, over 3,000 hectares. People say such land exists in Anambra State. 2 ministers of agriculture has visited the place. Audu Ogbe and the other minister, and the central bank governor, one has been there. Herbert Nwigwe was there on a helicopter because after they drove for about 3 hours in the farm, they said they have seen enough and left. So if you want to visit our farm, please come through helicopter. Go back a little bit. These are other subsidiaries of our company, Costalis Technologies, First System, Costalis Mobility, where we lease car to Julius Berger, Citibank, Huawei, and all of those things. 6 Lental is part of our group. I want to show all of this before I get to the base. Be a little bit patient with me. I won't take you more than the 40 minutes that are allotted to me. Next. Achievement that surpass perfect grammar. In 2003, the University of Nigeria awarded me a doctorate degree. Afa Bebalola awarded me another one after that. I got another one from Michael Opala University and other ones. So while some of you are pursuing degree is pursuing me. Why? Why is degree pursuing me? Where I didn't broke fail. I sat in the board of Access Bank for 12 years as the chairman of credit committee. As a matter of fact, I brought Ike Mokwede and Herbert in Access Bank. I used to own 24.7% before I brought them in there to help me manage the place. And then Spring Bank was another bank, P2B owned 10%, Edim Menam, and Tony Zen. I own 70%, 72% of that. But just move on. When talking to young people, I teach them about 7 keys of lasting success that comes from vision, faith, self-belief, plan, focus, value, and integrity. And I'm going to be dwelling on integrity today. When you have those 7 things, money will follow you. I had a vision at the age of 15 after working for my uncle for 5 years and 6 months. He gave me 200 naira in 1976. What everybody expect was for me to commit suicide. My senior brother said I should leave it and let us go. And I asked him, do you have any to give me when we get home? He says no. So I said, why did you ask me to leave this? Because I've been taught from the principle of the word of God. Do not neglect the beginning of a small thing. So at the age of 15, I wrote 5 things I want to accomplish by 25. One is to live in 3 bedrooms apartment when I'm 18. That was a vision. 2 was to take a lady to altar at the age of 20. And 3 was to have a son, a male child at 21, have a car at 23, and be a millionaire at 24. Yes. I didn't have them in my head. I wrote it down. These are the things I looked at before I go to bed. And when I get out in the morning, I get ready to go out. I will look at them before I go out. Because people who are going nowhere in life are the first people that tell you, let us go. When you ask them where they are going, no direction, they are taking a stroll. So they are the first to ask you. With faith, nothing shall be impossible. Faith, believe. You need faith to believe in your vision because you are the first believer of yourself. Move on. Self-belief create your belief create your value. Your value produce your moral. Your moral inform your ethics. Your ethics shape your character. Your character ultimately control your life. Move on. This is me. 1978, September 28. I will turn 20 on December 24 that year. I beat it by 3 months. I took this beautiful lady to altar. So some of the guys here could be my child. I've been married for 47 years. Yes. So that first vision, cancel, second one, cancel. It's not everything you wrote down will happen exactly because I did things husband did to their wife, but God knew that 2 babies cannot be making baby. And the child did not come at 21. So my first son came at 26. I pursue my other dream. Move on, the next slide. And that is me at 23. I passed Old Oka Road. I saw a Volkswagen with 3,000 kilometer, Volkswagen wagon. I negotiated it by 22. I own a car. I was the first person in my family that have a car. If you go through it, you see Jesus is coming soon. Jesus is alive today. I've never shake 1 minute. I've always carried my faith in the face of any contradiction. From that time, I used to drive this car and go attend one service at Church of God Mission. Benson Idahosa late was my friend because of the zeal I exhibit and all of that. One day I was in this car going on a journey. When this thing come on me, I speak like a deaf and a dumb man. My mother was at the back of the car. My wife and I was traveling. Because Bible says in the last day, young men shall see vision and old men will dream. What is a dream? Something you expect that will happen is not happening in your age. When you are getting old, you give it to a young man and tell him to make it a vision. Young ladies, as men will prophesy, young men need to share their vision to their wife so that when their faith is failing them, their wife begin to prophesy back to them and said, if this is what you believe, go for it. God will help you to do it. And that's what I did to Charity because I got 3 gunshots trying to marry her. Ikedife have produced hospital. His senior brother was a doctor. His uncle was a doctor. And nobody was a graduate in my family. But I am very high to talk to her. Please go, still stay where you are. Go back again. So the point I'm trying to make here is that my mother was at this car and this thing came on me. I said, 2 more years, I'm going to be a millionaire. My mother said, please. I said, Mom, what's the problem? He said, please, let's go to this journey in peace. Because we keep on boasting and this your boast make me go to toilet. I said, Mom, listen, what I'm telling you is 2 more years. My mother said, if you said that again, I leave the car. Very strong woman. I stopped the car and I came closer. I said, Mom, 2 more years. 2. He said, open the car. I opened the car. My mother walked down. I banged the door. My wife said, are you out of your mind? I said, if you like, I can also drop you. I drove away. I left my mother in the road. I never went back to pick her. Yeah, but she lived to see it. I made my first 2 million United States dollar at the age of 24, not 25. And the rest was history. Move on. That's power of vision. I built this house. That's still where I live at 25. My wife was finishing this house before it gave back to my son. At the second floor here, they constructed it before. You jump here from swimming pool on the second floor. At that time, a 6 feet cantilever here. That's power of vision, how far it can take you. But these visions must have basis. No building starts without structure. And we're trying to look for structure of faith and what it takes to be able to be successful in life. Things that are prerequisite that you cannot throw away. Move on. I was 14 years living in Ido and living in Butemeta to come to enter Awala in Ido. This building is called AG Leventis at Butemeta. You know, you see it when you are going to Butemeta. I was at exactly this spot when I pointed this building. I said, one day I'm going to make a building like this. The man by me cocked my head because I was just going to enter Awala. It's a transportation where your leg is suspended. You can't get ground. And when you go inside gallop, he throw you up and fall you on the ground. I was already dreaming of that building. This is the first building I ever made in Lagos at Adeolo Deco. Compare it with that. When you have vision and you are properly focused, and it's based on the principle of the word of God, there's no dream that is too extreme, no mountain that is unattainable. Move on. You need plans for your life. You need hope, because hope is not a strategy. You need to plan. After you plan, then your hope comes on top of your plan. But how do you plan without the right ingredient that takes you there? Move on. Focus is a priority. You strive your distraction and, feed your focus. Move on. I'm coming to the point why we are here. Values and integrity. I didn't learn integrity I learned from observation. God was so kind to me at very tender age of my life. I met the Japanese. I met people from Japan. People don't know that before the fundamentalists started committing suicide, the Japanese has been taking their life. Why? If a Japanese made a promise to you and he cannot keep it, the only thing honorable to do is to kill himself. They don't read Bible. Their Bible is a letter of credit. They don't understand anything. And if they have God, they are Shintos, so it's money. You ask the Japanese, how is your family? He said, don't ask about family, ask me about business. He said, why? He says, business is good, family is good. If business is not good, family is not good. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, when we talk about integrity, you see, when you have it, it's not something you talk about, but it's something you live. The toll gate get crashed for 38 hours. 24,000 vehicles, they laid the tailgate for pass. After 24,000 people went online and paid their toll. This will not even happen in America. Nobody requests you from it. But they've been taught this is how to live. That integrity is not something you compromise. It should be your life. These are people who are supposed to be unbelievers. But today, by experience, I dealt with many people, and I find out that there's almost almost another God that is competing with the real God. And that God is money. People can stand true to their moral life, but temptation of money, they fall. Ministers, people you respect, you place up there, when it comes to this integrity, they crash. We are going to discuss, I wrap up soon, what does integrity mean? Because integrity is not what you do where everybody look at you, where you are under a camera. The only way you know if at all you have integrity is when you discover that the things you are doing or going to do can never be discovered by any means or anybody. In other words, you can lock up yourself up in your room. There's no second person there. And it's all yourself alone. What do you do in a situations like that? Whether you are in Nigeria or you are traveling, the things you do then will give you a feedback whether you have integrity or not. Because it's not about everybody can behave well under a camera, under observation. Nobody wants to be seen as a bad person. But if the things you will do will never be known and you decide to stand by principle, by values that you cherish, the things that you call your core values, the things that forms your belief, then it's not to make you feel bad, but when you can't stand with what is ethical based on the principle of the word of God, you need to go back to drawing room and convince yourself, I am yet to have it. And I will share a testimony at the end. But just to show you what it entails to have integrity. Nobody knew who these people is. Nobody will ever police them or charge them, but they still went online and pay their whatever. A man I have met in Nigeria here, his name is Mr. Machichita, made a promise for suppliers to pay them. Nigerian government couldn't pay those letter of credit they call on March and March. So he lost money. He wrote a note to his business partner and said, I'm so sorry that I disappoint you. I feel so ashamed of myself. I can't even explain this. And put his big knife and cut himself into two. I introduced a Nigeria to get credit in Japan and they gave him a credit. And the next time the man was to pay, the man said, but you promised to pay. He said, but I can't kill myself. Exchange rate. Exchange rate went off. The man thought he was talking to a Japanese. He said, please kill yourself. Because you promised, please kill yourself. The Japanese believe it's more honorable if the roof of your house caved in yesterday, but you made a payment obligation the day you agree. There's no explanation why you should not meet a payment obligation. Because I'm trying to explain to you the things you saw before now. How was it possible? I noticed that integrity is one of the scarce commodity around the world, much more scarce in our country. And you can only make profit from what is not readily available, that everybody is not selling. And that's how we built Koscharis from one-man organization with 200 naira. And today, we borrow in Nigeria on a negative pledge. You don't know what negative pledge is? You go to bank now to lend money, they tell you bring collateral, bring your mother, bring your father, bring the baby in your womb, bring your grandfather. We don't collateralize nothing. The first bank in Nigeria that gave me loan without collateral was Guaranteed Trust Bank. The least bank you think would take that risk. Tayo came to meet me in my office in Maza and said, Cosmas, look me into the eyes. Because this is a prayer point and I knew I'm going to get there. If you have resources, you can advance your business. You know the limit you can go. We can't buy a company in Japan with our money. There are limitations to what we can do. But when you have resources available to you, and those resources can only be found, made available, based, the listing bank asks you collateral is the last thing. The first thing they consider is, can they take your word for it? Are you credible? And I'm going to discuss that. Move on. And I'm going to close here. The true currency today of wealth is in credibility. If you don't have credibility, I don't care how much money you have. You are as good as any man that is bankrupt. And what is credibility? Things you do on a consistent basis over a period of time that is verifiable. People can trace and go back to the record and say, this is truly who this person is. The second level of money is what I call credible relationship. And that means you don't have money, but you have somebody who have money, who is willing to avail his credibility to you. I did this to a kid brother of mine when I availed him 200 million naira in $200 million in 2011. I didn't have the money, but I just asked bank to give him the money. And that if he does not pay, that I will pay. And he actually defaulted. He did not pay. He did not pay. So when I talk about integrity, it's not something I'm talking from intellectual conception. It is something I understood, I practice, I live, and I can tell it to anybody. It's very costly. I've benefited from it, but it's expensive. It's not cheap. Don't ever think it's cheap. This young man, bank open letter of credit in his company name, not in my company name. That was one of my greatest temptation in life. I should support him, and I did get financial institutions to listen to him. I avail my credibility to him, and the banks who knew me and know what I stood for gave him money, basically open letter of credit for petroleum product. We started from a vessel, $42 million he paid under 90 days, $48 million he paid under 78 days, $52 million he paid under 120 days. By December 2011, he came with about 5 documents and said, if I did this, that's the only thing I can do for him. And I got one of the financial institutions to open letter of credit. He went to the high sea and sold the consignment. And by February or March, that credit crystallized. I couldn't even I couldn't even discuss this with my wife. I was so ashamed of myself. The bank called me and said that we have to assume this liability. I called a board meeting. The board of custody said, we will not assume this liability. We cannot compromise our flying child for this. You are morally obligated to the bank, but you are not financially obligated. They're supposed to do their homework and they should write it off as their whatever. We ended the board meeting. Everybody went back and I sat back and I asked myself a tough question. The question is, would the bank have availed this guy the money without you? The answer was obvious to me, no. Can you walk away from this transaction and it become your word against the bank? Well, since you didn't sign in any place, the answer is yes. Can you still stand in the public and talk to people about integrity? The obvious answer is no. So I have a choice to make. So integrity is also about a choice that you make in life. I called the managing director of that bank. That was exactly about 8:30 p.m. I said, send me the documents you want me to sign, and also send me blank share certificate to sign off my shares in the bank. And they sent those papers and I signed them before I went home. I got home about 10:30 in the night. I jump up. I said, hey, Chai! I won. I won. My wife said, come on. When did you become a gambler? I said, D, I won. He said, so what happened? I said, I signed that paper. She screamed at me. You signed? I said, yes, I signed. 3 times. You signed? I said, yes, I signed. He said, where did you keep $200 million? Because if you're a business person, you don't put money in a refrigerator. It's not something you say you open and you bring it out. But I asked my wife, I said, how much does peace of mind cost? I didn't lend bank, run around, or did anything. I assumed that responsibility and sign off my shares. If you want to know, like I said, I used to own 24.7% of Access Bank. I signed it off for that liability. And the boys I brought in Access Bank sold my shares to pay off that debt. And then I can concentrate to follow that guy. Integrity is not cheap. When I teach young people this thing, I tell them, if a rich man gives you cash, he has cheated you. What you need from him is access. Let him keep his door open for you. If anybody can leave his door open, the first time I met Femi Otodola was in Aliko Dangote's house. And he met me also for the first time in Aliko Dangote's house. If I meet any of you in Aliko Dangote's house, your value has changed. Because I know he does not deal with idiots. So if he opened his door to you, there must be some value you have. So don't look for cash. Don't look for money. This is what I call 5 levels of money. Credibility is the main thing. Credible relationship is the second thing you need to succeed as a business person. Where people can vow their trust to you. There are many of you here who can afford Range Rover, BMW. I don't know. But if I don't know you, I will never even leave our cheapest Chinese car, Mini, that is 32 million. But if Sister Florence Alakija called me and said you should drive away with a Range Rover, long wheel version, 450 million naira, I'll let you go with it. As a matter of fact, if Aliko Dangote called me and said we should let you drive away with Rolls-Royce Phantom, 1.4 billion, I will not insist you pay cash. Why? Because they build credibility, and I know if they don't pay, if you don't pay, I won't even call them before they send it. The third most important thing is what we're discussing today, integrity. And I've tried to explain integrity. The word integrity is integrated. That's why God is integrity itself. When your word and your action become one, you have integrity. You are not separated. You are not saying something else and your word is pronouncing something. You are one. You are one. Nobody can check anything. Somebody had asked me, why did you put character and integrity? Are they not the same? No. Character is the foundation of your life. Is the foundation of leadership. We are where we are in this country because of lack of character. There's so much deficit of character in our country. This building, you don't see the foundation. You see the roof, you see the wall. If the wall break, you repair it. If the roof break, you repair it. If the foundation have problem, you bring the whole building down. Foundation of any leadership and your life is character. When you don't have it, because these are structures by which you make money. If you have character, it's not seen, but it's a value system that you hold. Nobody's heart should be panting when you are traveling or when you are somewhere. So, what is character? What it is? Numbers. It's an alphabet. A is A, B is B. By 3 a.m., by 4 a.m., it does not change from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia or in Japan. It's Every time it remains the same thing. 2 is 2, 4 is 4. Character is like Victoria. It's a statue. It stands one place. It doesn't say the rain is coming, typhoon is coming. I want to look for where I stand. You stay there. It takes any weather, any situation. Something that you can predict is predictable. That's why God is character. The last thing you need if you are trying to create wealth is competence. It's not enough to be very religious and be very, you need to be school. You need to be taught. You need to be mentored. When you have all of those things, the first thing they will come to be is money. But if you don't have all of these things and you have money in your bank account, you can tweet it to somebody that I said the person stole the money. Because money is an exchange for a value. If there's no value you create and you have money, you're a thief. You stole the money. What I'm asked to do today is to speak on integrity, and I think I've done justice to it. So if I don't want to take much of your time, I would like to take my seat now and thank all of you for hearing me.